Okay, welcome back. This is part 2 of my Pathways working sessions. In the first section, we just spent a little bit of time at district48.org, as well as getting into the Basecamp software. I talked a little bit about my feedback and my badges. The next button that I would like to spend some time on is this first button called Navigating Basecamp. This is the help system for the Basecamp software. And it's a wonderful resource, great when you're first getting started and getting up to speed. If you click on the button itself, you'll go inside of this section of the software. And I'm going to open as an example, work in my projects as a subsection. And you're going to see as I scroll down just a little bit, there's a number of links. These links take you to a video, usually between 4 and 7 minutes in length. It's oftentimes a picture of the screen, and you can hear the person talking in the background and actually walking through an example of how to click and where to click and what to key in to be able to do the function that you're looking for. There are over 300 videos in the system, so it's quite complete. There's a lot of information here, so I would use this tool to try to find your way through the system at the very beginning and save yourself some time before you actually have to go and seek the counsel of other people. Great resource, and as I say, there's about 300 videos there, so it's pretty complete. Again, I'm going to go and click on the icon in the top left-hand corner, which will return me to the home page. And here again are the 5 blue buttons. The next blue button that I'd like to talk about is the speech evaluations. So I'm going to go to this last one, and I'm going to click on speech evaluations. And then I'm going to scroll down the page a little bit. And what you're going to see is every single project that is in the system. There are currently 59 projects that, at the time of this recording. And the reason why they're all here is because either you as a speaker or you as an evaluator may need to have access to this evaluation form to prepare yourself for your role at your club meeting. So I'm going to use as an example the icebreaker speech, which most of us are sort of familiar with. So I find icebreaker in the list. They're in alphabetical order. And I click on it. And then I have to launch it in order to open the window with the PDF document itself. So when I open it up, you're going to see a 3-page PDF form. This is a writable PDF form. So you could actually bring your computer and open it up and do your evaluation right at the meeting by typing in the information. However, that can often be distracting with the clicking of keys. So most times what ends up happening is the speaker will print the form and bring it into the meeting and give it to whoever is assigned as their evaluator. All 3 pages of the form are identical. However, there are changes to page 2, which I'll explain in a moment. Page 1, you'll see the member's name, the date, who the evaluator was, and the speech title. And then basically there are 3 questions that the evaluator is going to write a narrative, some prose, answering the questions you excelled at. So what did you do well? You may want to work on, or what improvements could you make? What incremental improvements would see you be a better speaker? And finally, to challenge yourself. If you really want to grow and stretch, here's something that you could be working on. So that's page 1, and it would be handwritten or typed by the evaluator and make a part of their evaluation when they give their remarks. When you go to page 2, you're going to see the biggest change that's been made to evaluation forms, and that is a more objective marking of the basic elements of public speaking. So here, the evaluator is going to score on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest, how he or she felt the speaker has done in the areas of clarity and vocal variety and eye contact and so on. Now, I recommend that you circle it or click it if you're doing it online, and then beside here where you have the comment section, you actually justify why it is that you gave that score. It's not helpful enough to just make a selection of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but if you've rated them a 4, why did you give them a 4? What is it that you saw that made them excel? And what more could they do to move themselves to the next level? So please use the comment section as a way to help you direct your decisions to the speakers so that they'll understand why they got the rating that you gave. Finally, to go to page 3, there's nothing to be written on in page 3. However, this is the criteria by which the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is selected. And so as we all begin to use these resources over and over again, the hope is that we will have a better feedback to our speaker, because we're all choosing grades that represent why it is that you felt that they were excelling, or that they were exemplary, or just in the developing stages, or whatever. So I would keep page 3 alongside of page 2 as you evaluate your speaker. And hopefully over time, the quality of our evaluations will improve. I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to go back to the home page. And now I'm going to look at the last button here, which is where you're going to spend the majority of your time. This is the transcript. This is where you get access to all of your pathways information. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to talk a little bit about these menus at the top a little later, but as I move down here, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to open up this active window, change it to completed, and then I'm going to open up this pathway, called effective coaching. And the reason why I'm doing this, I have actually finished this path, all 5 levels, but I want to show you how all the various levels work together, so I can show you a broader range of these, because these ones are ones that I've already completed. I'm going to click on level 1 here, and then let's go through this. So as I scroll down a little bit, what you're looking at is a dashboard of my path called effective coaching at level 1. And at level 1, you can see that I have completed 100% of the level. There are 4 elements at this level. The minimum requirement is 4, and 4 have been completed. There are 3 projects, as I showed you earlier in Mark Snow's flow chart. And there is a last item here, which I will explain in a little bit. But what I'd like to do now is switch over to a blog post entry that I wrote earlier this year that you can find on District 48's website under blog. And this posting I called The Flow of a Pathways Project. So you can see the article. I've written 1 or 2 articles per month. They're usually about 5 to 10 minutes to read. They've usually got a big graphic in them, and they are supposed to be very actionable, help you to navigate a single problem that you might be faced with inside of the system. But the reason why I want to share this graphic with you is that every single project that's in the Basecamp software, in the Pathways system, has 9 steps that you go through in order to start the project and ultimately complete the project. And these are the 9 steps. The first one is to activate the project. If you've never worked on the project before, the name of the project will be on the dashboard, and then beside it will be a red button that will say the word activate. And all you do in this step is just click the activate button. What that does is inside the system, it registers the fact that you're now working on that project, that you intend to work on that project. So it's a 1-step operation, but it tells the system to register you with that project. Step number 2 is to launch the project. This is getting you to go inside of the project so that you can look at the information. You just click the red button that no longer says activate, but now says launch, and it will take you inside. It opens up another window and takes you inside that project. The next page is just a title page. It's the introduction that shows you which project you're in, and it's just a level set to make sure that you're where you want to be. The 4th step is an important one after review introduction page, and it's to review the assignment. This is where you get specific information of what work you're going to need to do. Some projects just have 1 speech and that's it. Some have multiple speeches. Some may require you to do a role at your club meeting. Some have you do an outside activity. So an example of that would be there's a project to create a podcast. Well, you don't create the podcast at your club meeting, but you're going to do that activity outside of the system when the time comes. So you're going to deliver a speech about your podcast, but you're going to actually physically do the assignment of creating podcast entries, and that's an example of an activity outside the system. Step number 5, before you start the learning, is to take a pre-assessment. All this is 4 to 6 questions to try to level set you on how much do you really know about the subject already before you've gone through the learning. Nobody sees the answers, they're just logged in a database, but it helps you to kind of level set how much knowledge you already have before you start the project. Step number 6 is the one that takes the longest. It could have 5 pages, it could have 25 pages. Most of the time you can do it in an hour, but sometimes it may take a little longer depending on the depth of the project itself. Here you're going to be given multiple pages of information. You're going to learn the information that's being taught about this project. And what you're going to see is you're going to see videos, you're going to see audio, you may have attachments, you may be given little quizzes or little feedback slides so that you can learn the information in a variety of different ways, depending on how it best serves you. Step number 7 is the page that says your evaluation. And this is where I recommend that you stop and don't go any further in the project until you have completed the outside assignments. This is where you're going to go and prepare and deliver your speeches or perform the role at the club meeting or do the outside activities. So you can just leave that page by closing the tab. You'll go back to Basecamp, and you can always go back into a project as many times as you want. So I would leave it at this page until you've done the outside work, then come back to the project when you're ready to move on and complete the project. Step number 8 is to take a post-assessment. This is the exact same assessment as you took when you did your pre-assessment, same questions, but when you're finished this one and you log in the database and submit it to the database, you'll see a little window pop up, and it will compare your pre and your post-assessment answers. And hopefully you've grown from taking the project and working on it, and you can find that your numbers go up. Again, the information is just for you, but it's a way of being able to gauge whether you actually got some value out of doing that project. And then the last one, when you move forward, is the page that says congratulations. You have to get to this page. If you don't, your project will not be complete. So always go as far as the congratulations page so that the system will work properly. When you hit this page, it's a trigger to the system to let the system know that you have now finished the project. This is the 9 steps. I call it the flow of the Pathways project. And every single project has the same 9 steps, although the information at the learning stage will be different. Hopefully that makes sense. If I go back to Basecamp, you can see that I activated this project because it now says launch. And you can see that it's completed because there's a check mark at the top of the icon that tells you that this project's done, and this project's done, and this project's done. Now let's talk about this last item here. This last item would not have this red box if these 3 projects were incomplete. So this will be blank at the beginning. There will be no check mark. And this is another system trigger. This is how you tell the system that you're actually completed the level and looking for approval from your Basecamp manager. When these 3 projects are completed, you will see a red button here that says activate. You click the activate button, and that's what sends the signal to the Basecamp managers to request their approval. After that, this will change and will come up with the word evaluate. When you click on evaluate, this is going to allow you to give some feedback to Toastmasters International. You'll fill out a little survey, it's about 4 or 5 questions, and it just helps them to know how well you enjoyed the process and whether there was anything else they could do to make improvements. When you finish your evaluation, it will now read View Certificate. And if I click on this and open a new window, well, actually it'll open on its own, I guess. Yep, opens another window. You can see that this is the certificate that you get when you complete the level. It just has your name, what level you finished, and what path. Normally, your Basecamp Manager will print this out. But if they don't, you can print it out and bring it to your meeting so that you can be recognized for your success. And I'm going to close off this next section, and we'll come back in a few minutes for part number 3. Thank you.